about things that are outside influences on these kind of studies.
Yes.
Something we should be thinking about?
Think about it, for sure, because it's huge. Sometimes there are things that are nefariously connected, like, say, an independent third party that's not really independent. It could be paid by a company trying to get a certain result achieved. Watch that. But there's also stuff you just don't think about. Like a study I read, this is going back about 10 years now, but maybe even longer than that. It was a fuel miles per gallon study with station wagons. So this is dating it pretty well, isn't it? This is station wagons because they don't even have, they call them SUVs nowadays. But it was sedans or station wagons or something like that. They were checking fuel economy, and the study was basically checking similar 4-cylinder station wagons. And this Buick something or other was going off the charts with fuel economy. It was getting like 40 miles a gallon, where the other ones were getting like 32. And they tried to figure out why the hell is the Buick, it's still a 4-cylinder, it's a gas engine, it's not diesel, it's a gas engine. Why is this thing getting so much better gas mileage? So, I mean, the report had a question, like, this is an obvious outlier. It's definitely above average, we can't tell why. Turns out, they finally figured it out. The recommended tire inflation on the Buick was much higher than the other competitors. So it wasn't anything to do with the fuel economy of the engine, but the rolling resistance of the tires. That's an unforeseen and completely not intentional outside influence. So yeah, you should definitely be considered with all that kind of stuff.
I'm starting to think, like, we don't know if the person that gained 21 pounds was eating a bag of Cheetos every night. That's
correct.
The things that I just started to think about
So thank you for that. I'm going to put your mind at ease right now. Those of you playing the home game, when we have data like this, assume it's controlled for every variable except the one we're studying. Because these studies are generally controlled. These people were kept in a controlled environment. They weren't allowed to go home. You got to get worried anytime a medical study is done where they bring people in, measure them, and then just let them go back into the world. Because then you're outside of the control of the experiment, and who knows what can happen. Lots of interesting things can happen then. So think about it. Keep asking the questions, but in a class like this where we're learning kind of nuts and bolts, don't sweat it. We'll keep talking about that as we go, though, because it's very important to talk about that. Great question. Eric, you've been very patient. Go, my friend.
I really don't like this information that we have.
Okay.
Because I feel like this sample group, it's such a variable thing to try to measure, because if you're beginning with all of these individuals, like when you're starting, you'll be extremely malnourished, and maybe you gain weight because you're getting more intake than normal, or you're losing weight because you're overweight. So it's really...
I love what you're saying. So put your mind at ease in this respect. And it's been too long since I've read this. I don't know the answer to your question exactly, but they were controlled for whatever the condition was. They were controlled for that. I don't remember this study. I'm confusing this one maybe with the other British study I saw. But one British study was actually looking at anorexic girls and methods to get weight back on their frames. This was not that study. These, as far as I know, were people who were just normally healthy, maybe their definition of slightly overweight, I don't remember, but don't worry about that, it was controlled for. Is that okay? Yeah. I love the fact that you don't like it. You should,
it's just that we don't have it, since we don't have
for sure. And that's why I want to treat this as just data. Exactly, just data. Is that okay?
Yeah.
No, I love what you guys are saying, and I'm please understand, it's wickedly important. Please understand that. But don't kill yourselves worrying about that right now if we're talking about mechanics. That will come, and we will get, as soon as the mechanics become automated, then all that comes to the top, we start criticizing. Hey, you guys are criticizing your first question on your exam, if you've looked at it, you're criticizing that map that I pulled up from the GMO labeling, because it's there, and it's, in my opinion, it's wrong. You'll see why as you do the exam. I just looked at it this morning. It looks totally different this morning, because they're updating it constantly with numbers. If you looked at it on the exam, it's 5 million to 2 million, or 2.5 million, now it's 10 million to 5 million. It's crazy how much money is getting thrown at this thing. So I want you to be able to get in the world and critique these studies, but not with the mechanics learning, if that's okay. Sandra, go ahead. You got a question.
Oh, you covered it.
Oh, I did? Excellent. All right, real quick, let's pick these numbers, and then we'll take our 5, because we're getting close to that. We're getting close to break time. Thank you for those points, both you guys. Very, very important.